I understand that recently the Republican California congressional delegation sent a letter asking that the Caltrain project not be funded. I guess I'm curious, number one, how that, what MTC is doing along those lines to counteract that letter, and then number two, how does that affect this plan if they're successful?
We are aware of the letter that was sent from the Republican California delegation to Secretary Chow. And I think, as we mentioned to many of you who were here last month, that there was, a risk with the Caltrain project in that we were kind of going into a new administration. I guess there could have been a risk either way. But the 30-day period for reviewing the full funding grant agreement for the $650 million ends mid-month here in February. So we're definitely aware of the letter. Caltrain staff is working on it. We're working on with them sort of, there's a whole positive side to people that want that money to happen. Obviously, our two senators and a lot of the other California delegation, as well as I think a lot of those folks in the tech community that very much support getting that money and getting the electrification project going forward. So, I've heard that potentially, that letter really talked about waiting until there was a full review of the high-speed rail project and sort of linking the electrification project with high-speed rail, rather than kind of viewing it as having independent utility for what it is going to do just, in and of itself. So I heard that potentially the Republican delegation might, it's very much hearsay at this point, they might send us another letter, a follow-up letter. So, I mean, that could be a positive news. But I think we just have to keep you posted. I don't know exactly the next step. It's sort of recent.
Well, as I understand it, they were linking this project to high-speed rail, which is not correct. This is not a high-speed rail project. I mean, it's not. They're not one and the same. But it seems to me that we should be a bit more aggressive. But I guess what I'm kind of getting at is, what have we kind of thought forward what we would do as a region? I mean, does this scrap the project if they're successful? I mean, I was here at the last meeting. We understood the administration and the limo, but we certainly didn't expect we would get. I don't want to call it friendly fire. It's not friendly fire. But we didn't expect to get blindsided by the political side of it.
Right.
We expected to get it maybe from the administration.
So I think the first thing is trying to make sure that the separation between high-speed rail and this project is fully understood, and perhaps that helps the Republican delegation change their position with Secretary Chow, and then there's obviously a lot of others that support this project, even if we aren't able to do that. So your harder question, what do we do if we aren't able to secure the $650 million? I think we're still hopeful we can get the $650 million. We've spent a lot of time trying to amass all of the monies that put the funding plan together with the $650 million, and it won't be easy to replace the $650 million. So I can't sit here today and say we have a solution if we don't get that money, but we have continued to work at getting this project funded, and I guess if we aren't able to secure the federal money, we will go back to the drawing board, and I hope that we don't have to go there at this point. I think it's too premature to take that position at this point.
So my understanding was that there was litigation that they actually litigated that this project was not part of the high-speed rail project. Is that true?
I'm not sure of the exact answer to that, but the environmental document for this project was approved separately, and I believe that was part of the litigation. Okay. So high-speed rail has to do its own environmental report for their project on the peninsula, so they are distinct in that very important regard.
So they could actually make that distinction to the delegation.
And in fact, they have, and Alex referred to this, but the Democratic delegation from California sent kind of a response letter to the administration earlier this week that tried to make very clear the distinction between the two projects. And I think that letter was signed by both state senators and something like the other 39 representatives from the state of California. So there definitely is awareness of this among the legislative delegation from the state.